Hello students. So we have discussed the economic conditions in the Bahmani kingdoms. We have also discussed social conditions in the Bahmani kingdoms. We have discussed about Mahmud Gawan so far. So let's see what was the contributions of the Bahmani kingdoms. Or contribution in the sense, how did Bahmani kingdom impose its contributions on the people? How did people got affected from the rulers of the Bahmani kingdom? What made them click basically? So let's go further. Contributions of the Bahmani kingdom. The Bahmani rulers patronized literature, music, art, and architecture. Bahmani rulers, they patronized literature, music, art, and architecture, which means they promoted this in their kingdom. They really like to have discussion and they really like to have a process of these effects to their kingdom. They invited both Indian and foreign scholars to the court. Indian and foreign scholars, whatever the scholars were the people who were learned people, knowledgeable people. So they invited Indian as well and people from distant land as well. The Urdu language flourished under their patronage, thus the Deccan became a rich cultural center. Urdu was something that because of the influence of people like Mahmud Gawan, Urdu became a very important language in their center. And also, Deccan became a rich cultural center. The Bahmani rulers built forts, palaces, mosques, and tombs. Their architecture was influenced by Indian, Persian, Egyptian, and Turkish styles. The Jama Masjid of Gulbarga and Mahmud Gawan's Madrasa in Bidar are two of the most remarkable monuments of the Bahmani kingdoms. So what did Bahmani kingdoms do? They built forts, mosques, temples, and all those tombs and everything. Their influence was basically in Indian, Persian, Egyptian, and Turkish. The Jama Masjid at Gulbarga and Mahmud Gawan's Madrasa in Bidar are two of the finest examples of the contribution of the Bahmani kingdoms. Now let's discuss about the new kingdoms. The five independent kingdoms of Berar, Bijapur, Ahmednagar, Golconda, and Bidar replaced the Bahmani kingdoms. So there were new five independent kingdoms now. They were Berar, Bijapur, Ahmednagar, Golconda, and Bidar. So they replaced the Bahmani kingdoms, which means they took their place. They were basically now these five kingdoms were now in control of the situations. These were the new kingdoms. These kingdoms fought continuously either among themselves or against Vijayanagar. These kingdoms were in a constant battle with each other or sometimes with Vijayanagar as well. In course of time, Berar was annexed by Ahmednagar and Bidar by Bijapur. Ultimately, the three kingdoms of Ahmednagar, Bijapur, and Golconda were annexed to the Mughal Empire one by one. So basically what happened? Due to their constant fights and their disagreements, they slowly declined in the sense they got annexed. They got attached to the Mughal rule. When Mughal rule arrived, they got attached to the Mughal kingdoms. Among the well-known monuments of the new Deccan kingdoms is the Gol Gumbaj of Bijapur. Gol Gumbaj is the new monuments and it is the very well-known monuments of Bijapur. It is the tomb of a Bijapuri ruler. It is famous for its whispering gallery and has the largest dome in India. So what happens? The Gol Gumbaz is the finest examples of the new Deccan kingdoms at Bijapur. Bijapur is the place where Gol Gumbaz is situated and it is the tomb of the Bijapuri ruler. You can see in the picture on page number 36, the picture on top is of the Gol Gumbaz. That is basically the shape of the Gol Gumbaz. It is inspired by Indian, Persian, Turkish, and Egyptian architecture. So this architecture is basically very ancient and this architecture was inspired by all the four different different styles of architecture. It is famous for its gallery and has the largest dome in India. So dome is can you see the sphere on top of the on the picture? You can see the sphere on the top of the building. So that sphere is basically the dome. That is what is called the dome. The Charminar at Hyderabad and the Golconda Fort were built by the rulers of Golconda. At Hyderabad, there are two major locations which are of interest to the people. First is Charminar and second is Golconda Fort. These two forts are basically owned by the rulers of Golconda, and they were built by them as well. So this was basically, we have discussed few of the architectures, we have discussed contributions of the Bahmani kingdoms, how did four different style of architecture, Persian and Turkish and Egyptian and Indian styles influenced it. We will discuss about Gol Gumbaz in detail in the next class. Have a good day, students.